The battle is usually between what you wish to do and what you must do. Welcome to another episode of Sip and Ponder with Sirguy Is Here. Excuses are valid, and that is what we are here to talk about. First, let me see. Like I said, the battle is usually between what you wish to do and what you must do. But here is where it gets crazier. Excuses are perfectly reasonable and understandable. Like if you pause and think about it, you have a very valid reason to not do what you're supposed to do. Let me tell you a story. I once went to the school medical while I was still a student in Unisic, and I met this brother who came out from the office of a psychologist. So while I was waiting for something, we started discussing. First it was about football, and then the conversation led to why are you here? The normal students, style of conversation. So this brother told me that he's been dealing with porn and masturbation addiction. So he said something that struck me while we were having that conversation. He told me he wants to stop this. And for that reason, he started researching on ways, researching on things that concerns masturbation. And found out in his research that masturbation has no negative side effects. That automatically lured him in the more. I mean, this brother wants to stop masturbation, but at the same time, there's a valid reason for him not to quit. He knows that he's torn. He knows that he wants out of this. But that particular reason is both valid, is understandable, is rational, and is every reason for him to continue. It is capable of keeping you where you don't want to stay. You know you no longer fit here, but there is a perfect reason for you to stay. That particular thing struck me and it made me realize why people who are in toxic relationship, why they stay there. From the outside, you look at this relationship and you're like, they're beating you in this relationship, they're hurting you, they're doing this to you. But trust me, if you are in those people's shoes, you would see that they have a very valid excuse not to leave. Moving on is very difficult. It's one of the hardest things because how are you even sure that the next phase of your life, that place you want to move into, is better than where you are currently? They used to say that the grass is greener on the other side. That is exactly how the trick our brain plays on us whenever we try to move on. You're in this relationship with this person, you've made memories with this person. You're supposed to leave, you're supposed to walk out from that relationship. But then your brain begins to doubt, your brain begins to ask you questions like, how are you even sure that the next relationship you're going to enter is going to be better than this last one? So it's a very big question. Like, what gives you that assurance? And I'm asking you, what gives you that assurance that where you're headed to is better than the life you have now? Tell me what you think in the comment section. I used to say this to myself. They have shown you signs, but you want to remain there until they show you wonders. It's okay to miss someone and still want them, but you don't go back to that relationship. It is called moving on. I have people that have been impactful in my life, people that have been friends with for many years, but at some point, I knew I had to walk out of that relationship because it no longer fits. That doesn't mean that I don't owe them my gratitude anymore. In fact, if I get an opportunity to reward them for what they have done for me, I will do it. And if I still get a chance tomorrow to tell a story about them, I would say how nice they have been to me. But then those shoes no longer fit. It no longer fits. So because we have made memories with people, because we've had good times with people, doesn't mean that it must last forever. Perhaps forever is not a word that is meant to describe our relationship with people. Forever perhaps might be a word that is meant to describe memories, pictures that we can't erase from our minds. maybe relationships are not meant to last forever. This may sound like a hot take. Yes, you want to keep people in your life forever. But then you also have to realize that there are times the shoes no longer fit. Imagine you have to keep your favorite shoe till you're all grown, become an adult, and die. At some point, the shoes will no longer fit. I feel like that is just exactly how things are. People grow, and sometimes we grow apart, sometimes we grow differently, and still sometimes we grow together. Dax once said this in his song that the day we change is the day we realize that we've always had the power to change. So tell me what you think about moving on. How difficult you have found moving on to be in your relationships, in your career, including the relationship you have with yourself. I'll be in the comment section. Remember, I am the man for all seasons. Your finest disciple, Sirguy is here. Hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, share my videos, support my journey to becoming the hardest public speaker. Till we meet again, this is Sip and Ponder with Sirguy is here.